Hello, hello! And we're in the new kitchen. It's the spooky year of the time. What? Ugh. It's the spooky time of the year, so I'm gonna be making a Halloween-themed chocolate cake. It's gonna be very simple. To be honest, I didn't have that many ideas for a Halloween cake. These are all the ingredients that we're gonna need today. The cake is super simple. It's pretty much the same as the recipe that I have on my channel. I got it from a Russian food blogger, so you'll see the translation with the full recipe below in the description. Our dry ingredients are cocoa, milk, cocoa, flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda. In terms of the wet ingredients, we have an egg, vegetable oil, or just any neutral oil, milk, alcohol, and also hot water. Originally in the recipe, instead of water, the guy uses coffee, and I don't have coffee, so I decided to just go for hot water. But I do have alcohol, so we're gonna add whiskey today. You can obviously substitute both alcohol and coffee with hot water. I just decided to add alcohol because even though it might not look like it based on my videos, I don't actually drink alcohol that I have back home. So I thought that I might as well use it. The first thing that I'm gonna do is I am gonna cut out the parchment paper and put it at the bottom so that it's easier for me to take the cakes out when they're ready. 3 circles, and I'm just gonna brush them with a little bit of oil so that nothing sticks. I put a little bit of oil under the parchment paper as well so that it doesn't move. In a separate bowl, I'm gonna combine dry ingredients. I like to sift everything so that, you know, there are no clumps and it's easier to mix later on too. I added a bit more than I was supposed to, but it's fine. It just means that it's gonna rise a lot. It's gonna rise to the occasion. It's important to mix the dry ingredients as well to make sure that everything is incorporated. I also have a bit of homemade vanilla sugar. When I use vanilla pods, I don't discard the pod afterwards. I put it in sugar, and that's how you get vanilla sugar. Oh, the smell is so good. Vanilla is really expensive, so you want to utilize it fully. One thing with homemade vanilla sugar is that it's gonna clump up. And that's because when you add that vanilla pod, it has moisture. So when you put vanilla pod in sugar, that sugar takes up all the moisture from vanilla pod and clumps up. And that's why before putting that sugar here, I am just trying to get rid of these clumps. And now we're gonna mix this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Jesus. Oops. We're just looking for that mixture to combine, and that's it. While the mixer is on low speed, I'm gonna add 2 eggs. At this stage, I'm also gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract. The mixture is all homogeneous and nice, and I'm gonna add half of dry ingredients into the batter. Add milk into the mixture and mix it again. And now we're gonna add the rest of dry ingredients. Make sure to scrape off the sides of the bowl to get all of the ingredients in the batter. So I kind of messed up. After milk, I was supposed to add the rest of wet ingredients, so hot water and alcohol, and then add the dry ingredients. But since I already added them, there's not much I can do, so I'll just add the rest. Anna. This is why you need to read the recipe first and then do it. And this is the type of mistake that I've made probably hundreds of times at this point. Look, I know I messed up the first time, and you're probably thinking, Anna, just follow the recipe. I guess I really don't learn from my mistakes. And I probably should have preheated my oven a bit earlier, but I'm gonna do it now. To check the cakes are ready, prick them with a toothpick. If there's no wet batter sticking to the toothpick, then the cakes are done. Another way to check is by simply touching them, and if they're springy and bounce back, then the cake is done. I'm just slightly touching the edges so it's easier to get the cakes out of the tins. Okay. See, that was easy. The reason why I transfer the cakes on the wire rack like this is to make sure that the cakes are as even as possible to get rid of that hill. So I'm gonna leave the cakes like this for a few minutes, and then when they cool down slightly, I'm gonna wrap them in cling film and store them in the fridge. Cream cheese frosting is the type of frosting that I use the most. It's simple, it's delicious, it's not too heavy and not too sweet. Also, it's very pliable, so it's really nice to apply it on cakes. We start off with room temperature butter. We start off with mixing butter and icing sugar for a while, and then we're gonna add Philadelphia. In goes 220 grams of butter. Oh, I just love the smell of butter. I love to smell everything. I like to sift my icing sugar as well because when you store it for a while, it clumps up as well. When you mix icing sugar with butter, there are some clumps that might not actually dissolve in butter as easily as you think. The best way to make sure that your frosting is super smooth without any clumps is to sift icing sugar and make sure that your butter is really, really soft. And now I'm gonna mix it for about 5 minutes. Usually I like to mix icing sugar and butter for a very, very long time because the longer you mix it, the whiter it gets. It really helps to get that frosting really, really white. But because I'm gonna use orange coloring, it's gonna mix with orange coloring just fine. To make sure that icing sugar doesn't go all over your kitchen, it's better to combine butter and icing sugar using spatula before actually mixing it together. Now we're gonna add cream cheese to our sugar butter mixture. Make sure that your cream cheese is straight out of the fridge. Ooh. And now, the reason why I put cream cheese last and straight out of the fridge is because you don't want frosting to be too soft. Because if it's too soft, then you won't really be able to frost your cake. I mean, you will be able to, it's gonna be hard to hold the shape. You made me crazy. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. With all this cheese. Come on. We'll start off with this much and then go from there. This is definitely not a color that I was going for. I don't want pastel orange, I want Halloween orange, so I'm gonna add more coloring. First, I'm gonna trim off the tops of the cakes a little bit so that they're completely even, and then we're gonna do the first kind of base coating. Oh, the sound, it's terrible. Oh, I mean, I think I should have taken it out of the oven a bit earlier. It's not dry, it's moist, but I would say the edges are a bit drier than the middle. Perhaps I could have taken it out at even 22 minutes. I have a turning table and I have a cake. Oh my God, I don't remember what they're called. God, my English. Let's call it cake base. This is a trick that I learned when I was part-timing at a bakery. You take a piece of tape and you basically make a ring with it. Basically clip the edges, you have a ring, and then you put it on the base of your cake base and then on the turning table. And this way you secure the cake base to the turning table and it doesn't move around. I'm gonna apply a bit at the bottom to secure the first layer. And then I'm gonna smooth it out a little bit. Why does it smell like chicken nuggets here? Did I just confuse the smell of frosting with chicken nuggets? I don't know how that happened. But yeah, this is definitely a big layer of cake, so I'm gonna add more frosting. Gosh, this is a lot of frosting. I feel like even a spoon of this cake is gonna be like 300 calories. Now we're gonna put the second layer on top. I made way too much frosting. Oh well. Crumbs. Time for a scraper. You might be wondering, what's the point of putting all this frosting just for you to scrape it all off? Usually I have the base coating. The first layer of frosting is really there to just secure the crumbs. And then you put the cake in the fridge for frosting to set for a little bit and then put the final layer of frosting. But with this cake, because I already put a very thick layer of frosting, it's just gonna cover everything and you don't really see crumbs here. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. And now I'm just trying to make it even by scraping off those parts where there's a bit of excess frosting. I think that'll do. It's not perfect, but you know what? Even if it turns out ugly, it's Halloween. Halloween is the perfect excuse to make something ugly and then say that it's on purpose. Top is what I struggle with the most. It's not super even, but it's okay. It'll do. In the fridge it goes. We're gonna need dark chocolate. I'm gonna use around 80 grams. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, stir it, and then put it for another 30 seconds. For every 100 grams of chocolate, you're gonna use around 60-80 grams of cold butter. As you can see, chocolate melted completely, and now I'm gonna add butter. I'm gonna pour a little bit of this chocolate glaze right in the center of the cake, and then I'm gonna use the offset spatula to basically move it around the edges of the cake. I've never done this before, so I'm a bit scared. Doesn't really seem like it's falling, to be honest. I think the cake is a bit too cold because even this is barely dropping. It freezes. All right, I'm just gonna melt more chocolate. This layer is kind of thick. We're just gonna keep it. Yes. Oh, no, not like that. Oh, yes, like that. Not the worst. These droopings are harder than I thought. Oh, I should have had more here where you can actually see the layers of the cake. Well, it's first time, I guess. I'm gonna put it in the fridge for chocolate to set even more. While the cake is in the fridge, I'm gonna prepare the final detail. I have blackberries and raspberries and a bit of mint here. I am gonna cover them with a bit of golden coloring. Well, golden powder? I don't know what the name is in English. I'll write it down, it's over here. Wow, I mean, look at that. I feel like in an art class right now. This is so cool. You gotta be gentle with these berries though, because they might fall apart. And now I'm just gonna put the berries on top in a chaotic way and pray that it's gonna look nice. And now I'm just adding a bit more golden powder. Not bad. I don't hate it. I think that it's okay. It's actually 1 a.m. right now, so I'm not really in the mood to try a cake right now. I don't have any plates. I'll just use my bench scraper as a plate. Just a tiny piece. I guess that'll do. Oh wow, this chocolate on top, I didn't expect it to be so prominent, but it is a very, very thick layer of glaze. I think I would prefer a chocolate cake with chocolate frosting rather than cream cheese frosting. Even though I praise cream cheese frosting so much and I use it so often, I think I'm getting a little bit sick of it. Oh God. Even this tiny piece is too much for me. I feel so full. The cake itself is not too sweet. It's all the elements together that make it quite heavy. This is a thick layer of cream cheese frosting. I hope you'll have fun celebrating Halloween and hopefully trying this out one day. Thank you guys and happy Halloween. Oh, Jesus Christ.